Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis. I'm here with
Josh Weyers.
And you're back. It's only two of us today.
That is right, yeah.
Dorian was supposed to join us, but he's a bit sick today. We actually got a lot of news. Actually, this one, the first one on the top of this list, just kind of came out. It's something we've been talking about before, and I think a lot of people were assuming this, but I think we got confirmation now. The Mortal Kombat movie reboot is going to be rated R.
Fantastic.
And it's going to have fatalities in it.
Hell yeah, man. That's the way it should be, honestly, right?
Yeah. I mean, remember the first movie was PG-13. I actually enjoyed it. I
enjoyed the first one. The second one, not so much. Yeah, but I enjoyed the first one. I've rewatched it recently as well.
Yeah, so you have the screenwriter. He posted on Twitter, and he said, since it's already been stated by other members of the team, I'm going to put this one to bed. Mortal Kombat will be rated R, and for the first time ever, fatalities will finally be on the big screen. And no, I'm not going to say which ones. You'll just have to wait for the movie and see. So, yeah, this is good news. It's something that we assume, like, you know, with a lot of the hype of the Mortal Kombat series that was, I think, was it on IGN?
It was, no, well,
or was
yes,
it Machinima? I can't remember.
It was Machinima, and I think maybe tied into IGN, but it was mainly Machinima, as far as I know.
Yeah, okay, so Machinima. You know,
the legacy series.
Yeah, a lot of buzz off of that. That was like more hardcore rated R in there.
I enjoyed that when it came out on YouTube, yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people have been looking forward to a Mortal Kombat. You know, I'm not as huge a Mortal Kombat fan as someone like Caboose or Dorian is. What's your relationship with the franchise?
I haven't played the most recent one, but you know what? I'm going to say this right now, and I think that anybody who's listening who's played this game is going to agree. We need another Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. It was a co-op game they released on the PlayStation 2 back in the early 2000s. I still haven't played anything close to as amazing as that. The most recent Mortal Kombat is beautiful. I still haven't bought it yet, but I got to play it. It's fantastic. I'm more excited about the movie than like a next Mortal Kombat game, to be honest, because I loved the original. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people point to that, including myself, as like the one good video game movie. There's been okay ones. Like I remember the first Tomb Raider was all right.
I kind of enjoyed the Tekken live action movie.
I did not see that.
It was nothing to do with the game.
Okay.
So like it was more loosely adapted. But it was nice to see like the characters. They got some good casting for some of the people, and I enjoyed the fight scenes to that. Also enjoyed the Dead or Alive movie. But that was also, once again, pretty much nothing to do with the game. If you take those things with a grain of salt, they're all right.
Okay, so yeah, I haven't seen either one of those. But you know, I even thought the rebooted Tomb Raider movie based on the rebooted Tomb Raider game was all right. I never
actually saw that.
I really was fine.
I mean, I would imagine that would do well because the reboot of the Lara Croft franchise. The game series I quite enjoy that. It was a nice fresh take.
Yes. You know, obviously borrowing a lot from Uncharted.
Oh, of course.
But the movie itself, I think domestically in the U.S. it didn't do that great. It didn't do terrible, but it didn't do good. But I think overseas it did pretty well. So it's kind of one of those in the gray areas, you know, where it's like, well, they made a decent amount of money overseas, so possibly they could do a sequel, but they haven't been talking about this.
I know that's what happened with the the Warcraft movie.
Yeah.
It bombed out here, did amazing in China, so it's definitely going to get a sequel, which I'm happy about because I loved it. But that's just because I love I love Warcraft lore.
See, I enjoyed Warcraft as well. I mean, I didn't think it was amazing, but I enjoyed it enough.
the weapons and armor. That was my biggest takeaway from that was doing a game. That's also my issue with I think like talking back to the Final Fantasy series as well is when you're dealing with big, clunky armor and weapon. Like, how do you deal with feeling the weight to that? Like, I remember watching the Warcraft movie, and in the first scene, you see a knight pick up his sword, and I was just like, that's way too light. It's like he picked up nothing, and it was this big, giant metal sword.
Well, that's the problem with props, right?
Yeah,
that's
the issue.
They need to make them, you know, lightweight because they're not supposed to
durable. Yeah.
So yeah, that was, and you know, we're gonna be looking out for a lot of these video game TV series coming out soon and seeing how those do how those fare versus video game movies.
Yeah, we're for sure getting a lot more of those.
We're getting the Uncharted movie in the future with Tom Holland, which I know a lot of people, including myself, is like, that's a weird
Is it
choice.
going to be like an origin story? Is it him as a like?
Assume so.
That's the only thing that would make sense to me. Yeah.
I was just pictured it, obviously you had that Nathan Fillion fan-made one, but a character like that, a more Indiana Jones.
Oh, I remember that. Oh, that was
Indiana Jones style, like that type of thing versus young Indiana, which Tom Holland would be. I'm not saying the movie won't be good. It's just, it's gone through so many directors now and so many. At one point, I think David O. Russell with Mark Wahlberg was supposed to do it,
That's kind of how I feel about Akira. Because that script's been floating around IMDb since like the early 2000s.
And now Taika Waititi is directing it.
I thought it was James Wan from Aquaman.
No, I think he might be producing it, but no, James Wan I don't think is.
Yeah, I know. I saw a casting call for that recently. They're fooling nobody. They gave it this title. I think it was Box 39 or something, and they changed all the characters' names. But you read the character descriptions, and you're like, this is clearly Akira.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I was happy to see they were only casting Japanese though, which is nice as well.
Yeah, I mean there was rumors going around before that Zac Efron was going to play Kaneda, and they were going to call him Kaneda. They were going to call him something else.
Kaneda.
And it was going to be in Neo New York instead of Neo Tokyo. There's been a lot of iterations of this movie, but yeah, Taika Waititi is, I think, going to be directing that. I don't know what James.
Yeah, going back to the Mortal Kombat thing. Oof, excuse me. The R-rated thing makes sense to me now, especially ever since the first Deadpool came out. Like a lot of studios, we're definitely seeing a lot more success in R-rated films. So that's nice.
Yeah,
I definitely had that in the back of my mind when I heard about the Mortal Kombat movie. I was like, I definitely knew. I thought it was going to be R-rated for sure, with all the success of all the other R-rated movies we've been having.
Yeah, I mean, you look at comic book movies, right? They were afraid to go past the PG-13, but then you had both Logan and Deadpool rated R
doing
comic
very
book
well.
movies. Yeah, doing very well, doing better than some of the PG-13 ones. I mean, look at. Dark Phoenix, which just came out, that bomb, that was a PG-13. It's not about the rating, man. It's about, especially because before, like let's say in the 80s or even the 90s, you'd be like, okay, most of the comic book fans are younger people, but now people have grown up on comic books, and I think that the same way it is the same with video games, right? Video games used to be kids, right? Kids play video games,
and now we're all grown up.
Now we're all grown up, and older people play it. So now there's enough of a fan base to go like, oh, I'm going to go watch it. There's just a lot of things that are different. There's also
enough people, I think, in the industry, you know what I mean, that have played a lot of video games and have watched a lot of anime and cartoons when they were kids. And now they're in the industry, they're in the business, and they have that, which is nice.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to what was originally the first topic, which is the Lord of the Rings MMO. So this is going to be, they had, I think, announced this a while ago, but now they are saying that Amazon Game Studios is actually developing it. Amazon is reportedly working on their own streaming service, much like the way Google Stadia is, the way that Microsoft xCloud is going to. Yeah, so everybody's trying to get into the streaming video game.
I wonder
service business.
Amazon must have a deal with whoever owns the rights to Lord of the Rings, because they've also got that series coming out, right?
Yes, I'm sure that's kind of why they probably.
I know they're unrelated. They did make that very clear. Is that they are completely unrelated?
Yes. Yeah. So I think the MMO is going to take place during the actual
the trilogy of the books.
Trilogy of the books, trilogy of the movies, where the series is supposed to take place
just before the movies.
Yes, I think it's supposed to be in between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
The second something.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. You have Amazon kind of throwing, and it's a free to play game, which kind of worries me. To be honest with you,
I'm very worried because the previous Lord of the Rings MMO was free to play, and I hated it. It was horrible.
I'm just, with this free to play, I mean, yes, it's obviously worked great for Fortnite and Apex Legends. It's just, I'm always wary of like, oh, it's free to play. Okay, what kind of things? I'd rather.
What corners are getting cut here? You know,
it's either corners getting cut or what kind of stuff are they going to make you pay for to.
What are the microtransactions?
Exactly.
Or even we're going to get the game, and the game we want is going to kind of technically come out a year after the original release.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm one of those, because I'm old school. I'm just like, let me put down my $50-$60.
I want to pay what I get for.
Yeah,
for sure.
and then,
that's how I felt with the Final Fantasy MMO series. You pay for the base game.
Yeah.
You still pay for the you pay what you get. You get what you pay for. Sorry, is what I mean to say. I prefer that with if they did that. Also, then with pre-orders and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely an issue. I don't know how I feel about it, I'll be honest. As nice as it would be. I mean, when they first announced, like, even though it's unrelated to Amazon Game Studios, when they announced the first Lord of the Rings MMO, I was so hyped. Me and all my friends, like, we're like diehard Lord of the Rings fans. But it was horrible, man. It was just, well, I wouldn't say it was horrible. It was just
Did you play Shadow of Mordor?
Yeah, I loved it, man.
Yeah,
loved it. Shadow of Mordor.
The first one.
Yeah.
I didn't play the second one, but I played the first one.
I have it, but I haven't started on it yet. Yeah. But yeah, no, those were definitely, I love those for sure. But it's, you see, you have this very rich world to work with, which is nice. So the entire world is there, but then you have expectations of people want to see certain things. You know what I mean? I don't know. You have a lot to deliver on that. Amazon's fairly big though, so I really don't know where this is gonna go. I don't know if it's gonna be good, if it's gonna be bad, well received, hyped up or not. We'll see their marketing plan. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next thing, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have that kind of. They said it's like a soft reboot of the series coming out later this year, but
I'm really excited for it. Genuinely,
I'm more excited now with this kind of reveal. One, they're going back to the old school stuff, and they have this new mode, which they actually let some people play, which is called Gunfight, and it's like
2v2.
Yeah, but it's like the answer to Battle Royale, right? Blackout was their Blackout.
Royale.
Where it's like a small map and it's only 2 players versus 2 players instead of a big 64. It's supposed in 40-second matches, right? So it's like straight up. You start and they say like UNC you're
roughly 40 seconds.
Yeah,
because it's like when at the 40, so it's 40 seconds, and then at the end of that 40 seconds, a flag spawns in the center.
Yes.
You got to defend that for 3 seconds, and then it's first to 6 points, I think.
Yeah, and each time you defend it, you get 1 point.
What I do like is because I remember reading the article, and someone said, as you start, you're probably able to see one of the other teammates.
Yes.
That's how small the maps are. You're able to see the other team pretty much right away from starting. So that's really exciting. Especially, I've been playing the remaster of Modern Warfare at least 2 or 3 times a week since I got it for free on PS Plus. So I'm all for this. It's as much as I do love playing Apex and other battle royales. I struggle to find 20 minutes to put like away for one game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want like 5 minutes. I got other things to do today.
Also, I think playing the game, I have a feeling that you'll have, I don't know, maybe like myself, a lesser like skilled player will be able to actually do something, you know what I mean, with the small map.
It's a lot more fair as well.
Yes, all the loadouts are the same. You get the exact same loadouts, and it's randomly generated, which I like. So it's like you can have a rocket launcher and a pistol, or you can have a sniper rifle and a pistol, or a machine gun and a pistol. You know what I mean?
Like, it almost reminds me of gun game in a sense, where it's like you don't know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? You have to be, and you just got to go with what you got, and it levels it out. I like that.
Yeah, and and
no perks, no buffs.
Yeah, and for a lesser skilled player like myself, it's like, okay, I know exactly where they are, at least roughly. I mean, it's so small, you're not going to be, you know what I mean? This knowing that map is less of an issue than with a battle royale game.
You wouldn't have to memorize it exactly.
No.
You can. I mean, a couple steps around, you've walked around it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for this mode. Apparently there's a lot of other different modes, but this one seems right up my alley, where it's like, okay, another thing with battle royale is like sometimes you're in a map, and obviously the first thing you do is you're looking for better guns, better weapons, better armor, and whatnot.
You want to get a good loadout.
But then sometimes you can be traveling around looking for opponents to fight, and you don't fight. You know what I mean? There's been games where you're like,
and it
takes
been like
the pace,
10, 15, it takes the pace away.
10, 15 minutes, and it's like, I have not seen a single soul
on this map. And then you bump into someone, and you're so unprepared because you've been like not really doing anything the past 15 minutes, and they just annihilate you. Exactly. Because you're not in the zone anymore.
I'm not saying Battle Royale isn't fun, because it can be a lot of fun, especially if you have the right group to play with and whatnot. But I think this is something I definitely am looking forward to. And it seems like it's getting a lot from the people who got to play it. It seems like
a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, a lot of good response. Like, hey, this is a lot, like very addicting, right? Like, oh, let's get in there, and they're talking about like, oh, sometimes you and your teammate dies really early, and it's you versus two people, but you can still take them out. 1v2
because you don't recover your health either, which is probably the coolest part. And it's old school as well. Like a couple shots, you're down.
Yeah.
So it keeps it very fair. Like even if they take damage, your one guy's down. It can go either way.
Yeah.
It's exciting that way. Yeah.
And there's just much more of a, I don't know. I guess it closes the gap. I guess of the different players.
The idea of like defending that flag in the end, I like because the base is so small, and you're gonna be out in the open defending that flag. It forces you to adapt and be better.
And you got to come out, right? Like you can't just sit there and camp. The map is too small to camp.
It forces you not to camp. It's impossible.
Yeah. All right. Another big announcement this week was Nintendo Switch Lite.
Oh yeah.
Was announced. So this version, it's interesting. It's I don't know exactly who it's for, maybe because it's just not for me.
I can tell you right now. I already know what market it's going to dominate.
Okay. So it's $100 cheaper. It's not as powerful. It does not hook up. You can't hook it up to a TV.
Yeah, there's no dock,
and there's no
Table
Joy There's no Joy controller.
There's also no.
You can't separate it.
Yeah, you can't. There's no like pop up. You can't put it on the screen.
It's basically a new version of the Game Boy, right? It's like
because that's essentially what it is. It's basically going to replace the 3DS flat or the last one that came out. That's essentially what it's going to replace. It says it has an improved battery, but
they said by half an hour.
Yeah,
they said it by half an hour, right?
Roughly, yeah. Which is like I don't know. I mean, I know if you're playing Breath of the Wild, you're getting about. They say if you're playing Breath of the Wild all the way, you're going to get 3 to 4 hours out of it, which I guess is really not too bad for a handheld game. Like ideally, how long are you going to play in your bed before plugging it in? You know what I mean? Or on the go or wherever.
I am not much of a mobile gamer. That's just me. When I play a game, I like to sit down and like really get into it versus kind of on the go. I have friends that like they're playing their mobile games like out at a bar and like even when there's like other people like right here to talk to,
That's
they're
crazy.
They're playing their you know what I mean? And so like it's just not meant for me. It's gonna be released on September 20th of this year. It has 3 different colors. It's a
yellow, gray, and turquoise.
And it's a smaller 5.5-inch touchscreen. Yeah, improved battery life.
They did work on the D-pad though.
It's $200.
Yeah,
I mean, which is a good price if you are a mobile gamer and you like to.
It's also, I guess, no matter how you look at it, it's the most up to date out there like mobile handheld gaming system that you could really use.
Yeah.
I would have been so excited for this if this was the first Switch they announced. Unfortunately for me, it is a bit of a step back. Like, I mean, yes, you're giving the people the option of it's $100 less. $100 is make or break, but you really do get quite a bit more for that $100 being able to play it on your TV. My issue is, especially playing a lot of Mario Party on the Switch, the rumble function. The fact that they took the rumble out, so many like game mechanics rely on that rumble function. So I wonder how that's going to affect certain gameplay elements to certain games.
Yeah, the Switch, I mean, obviously it's funny because this is still called the Switch, even though it doesn't switch to anything.
Right.
But to me, the appeal of the Switch, even though, I still don't have one, is you can play it on the go and play it on a TV. So it nullifies my complaints of like, well, I don't mobile game that much. And so having the option to mobile game plus play it on a TV
is ideal.
Yeah, it's like imagine right now if you could have this is not going to happen, but because of, the graphics and whatnot. But like imagine you had your PS4, your Xbox One right now, and it was that size and you could play it and bring it anywhere, and you would do it because it's like, okay, now I could play it at home and then on the go, you just take it to go and play.
And you can still experience, because there are certain games that you want to have that big screen experience on. You know what I mean? I do see this doing very well for their indie game market, and because there are so many old IPs like remakes, Final Fantasy games, things like that. I see it doing very well in that case. Yeah, it's not for me, but I do see this doing very well. Like I think,
Well,
I think it's good,
$200 price point.
Yeah, I think it's going to make a decent amount of money. It's going to corner like pretty much just the younger demographic. It's going to corner that market for sure, I think.
Do you play mobile games on your phone?
I'm on my phone. Not because if I were to play mobile games, I would rather have a Switch or something to handle like an actual game. If I were to play, I play Clash Royale because it's like fairly quick little games. If I'm playing a mobile game, I ideally only have 5 or 10 minutes to spare because it's usually in between me doing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, it's what you're talking about, plus the fact that I don't know, I just don't like draining my battery, right?
No.
Like, but I mean, usually my phone lasts throughout the day, but if I'm going to an event or doing something else where it involves me taking a lot of pictures
and videos,
that type of thing that drains the battery,
you can't game,
yeah, I don't, and I'm always like, oh man, I don't want the battery to drain or whatnot.
On the odd occasion that I would use my phone for gaming, it would probably just be for an emulator. And
Yeah,
play
I think
old Game Boy games,
Fallout Shelter. I played, right?
That was
but
really good,
that's
though.
like that's a game that you can pick up, play, for 5 minutes.
Put
and
it
then
down, come back to it later.
Because it doesn't really involve. You can actually do something for a little bit and then go away.
No, they really made a winner with that game.
Yes.
I think they took that whole. Essentially, the game of like Simpsons tapped out those kinds of games of like doing like micromanagement coming back later, but they put a slightly more fun twist on it,
Yeah. So, and with a franchise that is very popular, especially amongst gamers, including myself. So that's just one of those things where it's cool they announced the Switch. Hopefully it does very well. I think like once, obviously it's brand new, so it's $200, but let's say in the future, if they hit that 150 price point,
that's a nice little point.
When you get to that 150 price point, it's like, okay,
call me up, hit me up, then we can start talking.
Then people will be buying those things in droves. Does it? I don't know. I didn't read all the specs. So it plays every single Switch game, right? It's just.
Yeah, but like I said, that's where my worry comes across as to certain games that use the rumble function. What are they like? How do they? Do you just not get to? Do you just lose that round?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Next one I have up here. This is a game I'm very interested in, which is Control.
What? That's from
Remedy Games.
Right.
They did Alan Wake, which we talked about last week.
Yeah.
They did Max Payne, Quantum Break. This is their new game. The first 13 minutes. I mean, when you look at it, it looks like a Remedy game. Where it's like it's a third person shooter, but
a lot of aesthetic.
Yeah,
a lot of aesthetic
and very atmosphere heavy, very story driven. So it's like you can tell right off the bat. What do you think? The first 13 minutes of it, you have this character Jessie Faden, and she comes into this like bureau, which is it's not the FBI, it's the Bureau of Control. It's very mysterious, which I think a lot.
Bureau of Control.
Yes, like Federal Bureau of Control.
I like. The games. I haven't seen the video yet, but there's a lot of hype around this game, which I need to do some research on this game for sure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely for me, which is my type of game, which is. It involves some sort of action, obviously, right? But it's a very story-driven.
How similar would you say is those sorts of games are to the Heavy Rain series or the Beyond Two Souls series?
I have not played those.
I think they're very much in the similar aspect.
Probably, I would say
third person, more like solving mysteries, kind of.
Yes, but I would say
less
from what I
combat
know
heavy.
about Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, those are even more story-driven.
Yeah, they're very heavily story-driven.
Where Remedy's games are story-driven, but they're also kind of
gameplay.
Driven, but it's more straightforward though. They have like with Alan Wake, there wasn't anything super complex.
Yeah,
and you didn't have they had various enemies, but it wasn't like a ton of different types of enemies. It was just more about here's the level design, and then you have
a good blend of all of it, really.
Yeah. It never.
Because I do remember, like I said, I never really got to play the Alan Wake series, but I did watch my friend play a decent amount of it, and I like the gameplay mechanics of it, for sure.
Yeah. But it's very straightforward. You're not going in there doing, I'm doing this 1,000,000-hit combo, or I'm going to upgrade, the weapons by, add this adaptation. It's not, it doesn't have those RPG elements to but it is very story driven. So this looks like the same thing. It has a very like mysterious, like you in this video you walk in and then I think they let you know that the reason why you're coming in here, I think technically you're supposed to be interviewing for a job, but really you're trying to kind of like become not a spy, but like your brother like disappeared and was taken by the.
So you're like trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Uncover some information.
But once you go in there, there's like nobody around. There's this weird janitor guy there, which for some reason has a portrait on the, like. The janitor guy has like he's like super
There's
important.
Something up with him,
yeah. He's not a regular janitor. It sounds
I like that. That's quite cool. Yeah.
And then you kind of go into like the director's office, and he's been killed, and I don't know. And your gun.
Did you ever play a game called Murdered Soul Suspect?
No.
What
was that on?
That was on. I know for a fact it was on PlayStation. I don't know if it was on any other consoles, but it kind of reminds me of that game as well in terms of atmosphere. Once again, haven't seen the gameplay footage, so I could be completely on the wrong page if anyone's listening or watching to this. But that was also a cool game in the sense of third person. You're walking around solving mysteries, and you could kind of see the remnants of like what had happened before there, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I do like mystery games, especially when they're done right. Let me see here. Next topic, we've got. The Halo Discovery. Have you heard about this? The
No.
Halo Outpost Discovery. So it's like I've seen ads for it, right? And it's basically like kind of a traveling event, like almost like a mini con in a way, right? I don't know. Have you ever been to like the Call of Duty event? I went one year.
I have not. No,
I forgot.
I don't know
what is the Call of Duty event called again? Oh my god, why am I?
The only Call of Duty event that I can think of that happened in the area is like a Call of Duty paintball event.
No. There's like a Call of Duty. Like every year they have. Every year they have it. It's called. Why am I blanking on the name of the event? What the. They have a very specific name. It's like where they kind of have like they'll have like a tournament, but at the same time they have like a bunch of like activations or whatever. Just imagine like a mini E3 or a mini Comic-Con, right? But it's only about one game.
Oh, that's quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So Call of Duty has one. I've been there once. So. That one is just they have it in one place and it's only once a year, and then everybody from around the country or around the world or whatever shows up to that event. It's like 2 or 3 days. So this one's a little different where it's like this Halo version of it, but they travel. So I think right now maybe it's in Florida.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it's like it's a traveling con essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's only Halo.
Only built around Halo.
So you pay a bunch of money to get in and whatnot. So apparently like. There was a lot of kind of backlash to this event because people were saying that, they were paying a lot of money, especially for like VIP access, but like VIP access still.
What do you get?
You still have VIP access was like, okay, you have to like, you're supposed to like get into certain attractions earlier and whatnot, like not wait in line, right? Like if you go to Disneyland, like being able to like just cut to the front of the line or wait in a shorter line, right? Apparently, like people that were like getting VIP passes were still waiting in line for several hours to get into certain attractions and whatnot. Now, 343 has...
It's almost like the Fire Festival of the gaming
I don't think
industry
it's quite as bad, but definitely a lot of kinks. I think 343 responded to it saying that, hey, like we're fixing the problems. They no longer exist anymore.
I remember that problem around E3 with the EA Play fiasco. They were giving out like free passes online. Everyone shows up thinking they got a free pass to this like little event, then you find out you had to pay separately to get into each thing once you were in there.
Yeah, that's not a good. Yeah, that's not a a good look. But apparently, there seemed to be some cool things there. They had Halo Reach on PC, like to preview. People were playing.
That's quite cool, yeah.
The one that looked the coolest to me was they actually had kind of Halo in VR. It's very interesting. So I don't know if that's something they're testing to bring out in the future, or if this is purely something they've made a very short demo for, just for this kind of in-person activation.
It definitely could go in that direction. The one game I never got to try that I really want to do was the Borderlands VR experience.
Oh, okay.
I heard that's quite good, so I can see that working well. I also heard great things about Doom virtual fucking reality.
Oh,
that looked a lot of fun as well.
I have not seen that.
So, I see those working well. It's the element of like moving around. How are you going to do that?
Yeah. But apparently, there were some like complaints about this. I don't know why this link is not opening up.
That's the difficulty as well, because this is the first time organizing any event. You're going to have a lot of hiccups. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So those are definitely givens. Like, if it's the first time for any kind of con, any kind of event, you're going to have a lot of hiccups. So it's going to be a learning process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
definitely.
I'll give them that. But at the end of the day, like, it's a fairly big company. Help some people out. You could probably at least refund some tickets.
And also, it's one of those things where when even when you're a big company, when you start delving into things that you
you don't specialize in.
Yeah, or even like the whole Fallout 76 thing, right? With Bethesda, they are a video game company. They're a big video game company. They've never done a game like that before, right? And they're just transitioning into something that's just a sidestep is dangerous. Now you're talking about live events are a different animal, different beast. Than there's a reason why there are event companies, right? That do these, and I'm sure they partnered with one.
They must have hired one, essentially, but that leads me to believe that either they hired an event company who organized an amazing event from them, and then they either must have said it's not profitable enough, or something, because I don't know. I don't see an event company. Unless the event company just didn't plan for the amount of people, which is also the case, I guess.
Who knows? But I'd be mad if I paid for like a VIP ticket and like had to wait in line longer than.
I'm in line with like 300 other people with a VIP ticket.
Exactly. VIP should mean like.
I should also, I think, like have a limit on those as well, because what's the point of like? Look, a VIP, I guess it's going to be more expensive, but if you have like 100,000 people that can afford that VIP experience.
Yeah.
Like you need to put a limit on how many of those VIP tickets you can sell, for sure.
And actually have some sort of difference. Like this isn't a game, but like going to Coachella, if you get a VIP ticket, you actually...
Oh, it's so different.
Yes, it is a different... Oh, yeah. Because I've been there.
It's a whole different experience.
I don't suggest going to Coachella without the VIP, because you're basically, when you're not in VIP at Coachella, you're just like this person that like is like burning out in the hot desert sun with like crappy ass bathrooms.
You're in your tent that's like 110 degrees.
And you have to wait in long lines for food. In the VIP area, it's like
showers and bathrooms are limited.
The bathrooms are better. There's the trailer bathrooms. Your lines for the food and drinks are much, much shorter. They have like mist machines there. There's like lounging areas. Like it's a whole like...
You see it in all the vlogs and stuff. You never see anyone vlogging who doesn't have the VIP access.
And then you'll see like the celebrities and whatnot that go to Coachella. They're all in there because they're like, there's no way. Obviously, when you go out, because the VIP area at Coachella, not to make this like a Coachella thing, but like you can see the main stage kind of, but if you really want to get into the music, you still have to go outside. It's just when you
join the people.
Yes, it's just when you want to go to the bathroom, you want to get food, you want to get water.
That's so
you
worth it.
You want to rest or whatever.
That's so worth it.
Especially if you are planning on staying there for a long period of time. If you're only going to Coachella and you want to see like one or two bands,
do it for the day. Yeah.
But that's to bring it back to Halo. It's like, you got to have that kind of difference, right?
Of course, yeah.
You can't be like,
here's a 10% difference. Here's like a 10%. It's slightly better, guys.
Yeah. So the next topic, this is actually my most interesting topic, but I don't know how other people will find it.
I'm reacting pretty good to it so far.
I just think it's the biggest, it's not biggest news, but most interesting news is that Facebook is according to a report, Facebook is looking to acquire a game studio, and that's also on the side, Splinter Cell VR is in development. Apparently, I think Facebook/Oculus, they own Oculus, and with the success of Oculus Quest, they have a deal with Ubisoft to bring some of their games franchises over there, and one of them rumored to be Splinter Cell, which, you know, a lot of people were, you know, upset, including myself, when you watched the Ubisoft press conference this year at E3 and there was no mention of Splinter Cell. And there had been like a tweet earlier about, I think, one of the Division developers. I don't know if it was the lead developer or lead producer, saying, "Oh, I'm working on the next Splinter Cell game," and then he's like, "Oh, wait, no, I'm not." So I think, you know, there are some people complaining like, "Oh, the next Splinter Cell's VR sucks." Obviously, I'm very interested in VR.
I think of the immersion element.
Yeah,
like
it looks...
Of all the games you could do in VR in terms of like gun games, we've been talking about other things like Borderlands, Doom, all these things, like they're awesome, but they're over the top. I would love a nice, realistic, immersive experience where I'm sitting there, I'm loading the gun myself, I'm putting the bullet in, I'm popping the cap. Dude, I'm
not
all
only
for
that, like the stealth, right? Like you're like...
And you don't have to worry so much about movement. It's perfect, in my opinion. It transitions so well. Like
you're not trying to run around.
Exactly, yeah. You can do slow movements. It's going to work. Oh, dude.
And like it's in the dark with a VR glass. You know what I mean?
I can see myself camping, taking my time.
Night vision, right? Like all that stuff plays very well with VR.
The tactability of it all.
Yeah. So I don't know. You know, we still don't know if that would come true or not. But I am fascinated that Facebook is looking. I mean, Oculus has Oculus Studios that already is making games, but you know, those are.
Well, they're also doing Assassin's Creed for the Oculus VR?
Yeah.
What? So,
according to this report. So, imagine taking these bigger franchises. Because right now, like, the biggest thing on VR is Vader Immortal, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Because it's the Star Wars license. It's exclusively for the Quest platform.
It works really well.
Yeah, you see a lot of advertising for it. But now if you want to get some of the more hardcore gamers into VR, you're talking about bringing these type of franchises, you know, like you're talking about Splinter Cell or Assassin's Creed or whatever else.
It carries a name as well. And then also, once again, we're looking at, as I love Splinter Cell, but not a lot of younger people know the Splinter Cell series that well. So I think this is definitely going to be a nice market for older people who can afford the VR headsets, you know what I mean, who have the jobs, who can go and get themselves a Quest. I think that's going to be that's a smart move as well. Because there's for sure, I don't see this game coming out and all like the 10, 13-year-olds going, I want to go and play Splinter Cell VR.
No.
But I see a lot of people our age and older going, fuck yeah. I'm going to throw my money down. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Honey, take the kids out. I'm going to be in the zone.
Yeah, so I think this is a smart move by them to try and acquire. And I'm just wondering how big of a studio, right? Are they going to try and get? Are they trying to buy? Because, you know, Oculus is owned by Facebook, which has a ton of money. So they can afford to, if they want to buy a much, like imagine if Facebook bought like something like a Ubisoft or, you know what I mean, that size.
They could, yeah.
Or they're looking for a mid-range like Remedy Games, right? Remedy Entertainment, which
someone
is
to
like
start and build with and work with.
Or Remedy Entertainment, they work at one game at a time. You know what I mean?
I see them getting a bigger studio involved.
Okay.
I don't like I look at Facebook and the things that they've been buying over literally since 2012, 2013. I look at the things they've been buying, and they like to buy things in a almost, I wouldn't say almost complete state, but in a state where it's like they bought Oculus, I think like 3 or 4 years after Oculus was founded.
Yeah.
I remember when Oculus was founded, I was all about it. I wanted to like buy shares in it, but my parents didn't believe me because I was some little kid talking about VR, and they were like,
"That sucks."
What?
Now you would have money.
Yeah, you have no idea, because I even remember the day that Oculus got sold to Facebook. I looked my dad square in the face and I said, "Remember I told you to invest in this company?"
Yeah. I'd be pretty pissed too.
Oh my god!
I'd be pretty mad. I remember Oculus Rift too, because they were mainly at the time used for these kind of activations for movies. Like I went to the Oculus Rift activation of I think it was Interstellar, Chris Nolan's movie.
I fucking love that movie.
And I thought it was cool, but I was like, when I played it, I was still like, it's cool experience. The technology's still not there yet, right? Because the the way the graphics looks, it was very rudimentary.
That's how I felt with I remember my first VR experience was with the Oculus Development Kit 2. And that I was so stoked for it, but also I was like, I immediately when I looked at that, I was like, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And I was just left with wanting more. And then I remember the first time I put the Quest on, and I mean, yes, you have your much more higher end ones, but the freedom of like just that freedom of the no cables, no nothing, no system to attach it to, and I don't know, like I felt like this is what I wanted to see when I first tried that Oculus Development Kit 2.
Yeah.
And I remember putting it on in front of Jack, and I was freaking out, and Jack was like, calm down, it's just VR. And I was like, you don't understand what this means for the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like,
the thing.
Yelling it like a crazy man.
I always repeat it like my mantra, because I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If technology is the only thing that is preventing... The advancement of technology, if that's the only thing that's preventing something becoming bigger, then it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I told people that with digital video. People didn't believe me back in the late 90s, actually even mid 90s. I was like, okay, video is the future. People are still shooting on film. Every movie now, 99% of all movies are shot on video.
Unless it's like an art house or something.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's Quentin Tarantino, Chris Nolan, Spielberg, or whatever.
Or you're doing it for the sake of... I remember I shot in 35 millimeter once just because I wanted to. I wanted that experience,
But, because everyone looked at mini DV and like, oh, it looks like shit. It's like, but if technology is the only thing keeping from it becoming...
it's getting so fast. Like, if you look at it, if you had to tell me when I was like 13 years old, that I would have a supercomputer in my pocket, I'd look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, no, man, things are progressing at such a rapid state that it's like we get to be excited about the future because we're gonna see a change every single year.
Yeah. So VR is the same thing. I'm telling you right now, the graphics are pretty good. I think with the Quest, it's reached that point where it's like they're good enough.
Oh yeah.
Right. Obviously, this is better. You can get the Valve Index or the HTC Vive Pro. The Cosmos is, I think, coming out later. You can get those things and they're better graphics. But if that's the only thing, next year the Quest graphics will be better, and eventually they will be 4K. You know what I mean?
Wait for the Quest 2. You know what I mean?
Quest
like,
2,
it's gonna be
Quest
insane.
3, whatever. There's going to be a tipping point. I think the first Quest is that first like breakthrough. It's like the iPhone, the first iPhone. Remember the first iPhone was
it blew up, man.
It like everyone got it. It's like if you think about what the first iPhone was, like
it was
the resolution
huge step as well, though.
The resolution wasn't that great, right? There wasn't even copy and paste. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of things that the App Store was very limited.
But if you compared it to other cell phones that came out that year,
exactly. But it's just an advancement of technology. So I compare the Oculus Quest to
I also want
first
to state
iPhone.
now that I'm not an iPhone fan.
Well, I am not. I'm not even an Apple fan. I use PCs and I have an Android phone.
I can't.
But what I mean
Apple
is
products.
but what I mean is in terms of the actual
technology at the time,
game-changing product, right?
For me, I think of the step, like it's a drastic, like it's a much bigger jump.
It's a jump.
It's
so
a jump.
The Quest is that jump, right?
It was like
it's taking VR from the whatever.
It was like when the PS2 came out. That was such a drastic jump, and that's why the PS2 cornered that entire market.
So
outsold everyone else like multiple times.
Yeah. All right, let's go to our last topic. It's not that big a deal. We talked about Sonic the Hedgehog before.
It was a heated topic a while ago.
Yes.
less heated now.
Well, less heated because, a lot of people complained, including myself. I complained, but I did not start a petition, nor did I say they had to change it. I just voiced my displeasure with the design. I
immediately just said, I'm not going to watch this. Yeah. Like, maybe if I go in there, like Jim Carrey is carrying that movie on his back.
So they announced a few months ago that they were going to redesign it due to the reaction, and now they said Tim Miller, who's actually a really cool guy. He's the guy who directed Deadpool. We actually did a comic book shopping with him here. Very cool guy. He's producing. He's not directing it, but he's producing this movie. And he came out and said, let's see, that when the shit hit the fan, I went over there. The most important thing to do, man, is say, I fucked up. After the trailer hit the web, the backlash was nearly instantaneous, memes. And, people did their own fixed versions that look much better than the one in the trailer.
I'm sure everyone knows exactly which version we're talking about as well. It went viral. It's a lot more cartoony. It just looks way better.
Yes. And so now they said the design is done, and they believe that people will be very pleased with it. So
that was my biggest issue. I was wondering about because when you're looking at a redesign of that level, it's what do you do with the tracking then? You gotta that's a whole new thing you gotta work out.
You've got to make it the same size, but a different design.
Yeah, where do his knees bend?
It needs to cover the same area, but it can be bigger or smaller or whatever. It's like
at least they went with a good height for him, which is nice. So
it's like when they do mocap in a movie. The guy's in the mocap suit doing this thing, but then they've got to cover him up, which is fine. Like, okay, imagine when they do Thanos, right, with Josh Brolin
on stilts.
Yes, they cover him completely up. So it doesn't matter, but you've got to do that. And so in this sense, they've got to cover up whatever
that's what I was thinking about. Because then your legs would get a lot, Sonic's legs would get longer. And how would they they would have to fix the tracking on the legs.
They did, on the fan fix, I don't know what they did in the real one. They made the head bigger to compensate. So the head's bigger.
I see, yeah.
Because Sonic's head is bigger,
right?
Oh,
yeah, of course. It's like half his body.
Yeah. So the body is actually smaller, and the legs are about the same size, but they're skinnier. They don't look so much like human legs. And this is the fan redo. The eyes are much bigger. It just looks a lot
cooler. I would
cooler.
imagine, though, that they definitely took note of that fan redesign, and they went in that direction.
Yes.
Because that's the smartest decision they can do.
So as we wrap up this podcast, what are you playing right now?
Actually, like I said just now, I've been playing a lot of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered because it's been nice and quick, easy to play. Been playing Apex, loving Season 2.
You loving Season 2?
I am actually.
Because you didn't play it last time you were on, right?
I have not. I got to play with the L-Star. I fucking love that thing. That's the new Legendary drop. Very sweet. The Mozambique hop-up makes it pretty OP. Does some extra damage.
Okay.
No, I'm enjoying Apex for sure, yeah. We'll say this, in other related news, like in anime-related news, we got the first trailer for a CGI Lupin the Third movie, and it looks fantastic. I'm really excited for that, yeah.
What I'm playing is what I mentioned last week. I'm almost towards the end of Titanfall 2, the campaign, which is only I think 6 hours. But I'm
oddly enough that you brought that up last week. I saw it on sale and I'm tempted to pick it up.
Pick it up.
It's only $13 or something.
Dude,
right
I
now.
bought it for $5. $5 because I was
a steal.
Well, because I was going to buy it digitally, right? But it ended up being cheaper to buy the hard copy. It was only $5. I think digitally it was 10, right, or 13 or whatever.
I really messed up a while ago. They had a good sale where it was Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 for I think it was $20 for both games or something. That was a good deal.
I think it's a lot of fun. The campaign mode, the level design, the graphics. The story itself is very basic, right?
Because I enjoy Apex, I want to see more of that world. I really want to see more of that world, man.
Definitely do it. The graphics are fantastic. I think that the level design is great. The gun variety is cool. Enemy variety is cool. Story, like I said, it's okay. The story's okay.
Other than the gaming, there's a lot of good anime out this season. So I've been watching a lot of anime. A lot of good new series coming out. I'm excited about that. A lot of good sequels as well. And we got My Hero Academia Season 4 coming out, so that's going to be cool.
Cool. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of the Collider Games Podcast. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki if you guys want to ask me any questions or talk. And I'm also streaming on Twitch at josh_toki.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, dennis.tzng. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games, and subscribe to the Collider Factory podcast feed for this podcast every single week. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.